Fleeing the city of destruction. As I walked through the wilderness of this world, I came to a place where there was a clearing, and I laid down in it to sleep. While I slept, I dreamed about a man in ragged clothes who stood with his face turned down from his own house and with a book in his hand, carrying a great burden on his back. I saw him read from the pages of the book, weeping and shaking in fear, until eventually he cried out loudly, "What should I do?" He anxiously returned home and tried to remain calm, so that his wife and children would not become worried. But he became so distressed that he could no longer be silent and decided it was time to tell his family exactly what was on his mind. "I love you all dearly," he said to his wife and children, "but I feel I must share with you this miserable and heavy burden that I've been carrying. You see, I've been reading this book and learned that our own town will be destroyed, burned with fire from heaven. And unless we find some way to escape, all of us will die." His family and friends were all amazed with his story, not because they believed him, but rather because they considered him sick or even losing his mind. As evening approached, they were confident that a good night's sleep was all he needed to settle down, so they quickly got him to bed. When morning came, they asked how he was feeling, and he said, "It's worse than ever." He wanted to share with them more about what he had learned in the book, but they would not listen. Sometimes they spoke harshly to him, and at other times they laughed. Eventually, they just ignored him. He was sad. So he withdrew to his room and prayed for them while nursing his own grief. For weeks, he would go out alone into the woods and fields to read his book and pray. One day, as he was walking in the fields, he became so distressed that he cried out, "Who will save me?" He thought that perhaps he should run, but to where should he run? As he stood there in misery, not knowing what to do, a man named Evangelist walked up to him and asked calmly, "Why are you crying?" "Sir, I've been reading this book," he replied, "and I now realize that I'm condemned to die, and after that, God will judge me. I find that I'm not willing to do the first, nor able to do the second. Now I fear dying." Evangelist responded, "Why do you fear dying since this life is full of evil?" The man answered, "Because I fear this burden on my back is too heavy and will make me sink lower than the grave until I fall into hell. If I'm not fit to die, then I'm sure that I'm not fit to go to judgment and from there to execution. When I think of these things, it makes me cry." "If this is your condition, why are you still here?" asked Evangelist. The man shrugged his shoulders and said, "Because I don't know where to go." Evangelist handed him a scroll with these words on it, "Flee from the wrath to come." The man read it and asked, "But where should I flee to?" Then there was a wide field before them with a gate. "Do you see that wicket gate?" Evangelist asked. The man looked far into the distance and said, "No, I do not." Evangelist asked, "How about the light? Do you see the light?" The man looked closer and said excitedly, "Yes, I think I do." "Good. Keep that light in your eye and go straight to it," said Evangelist. "When you arrive at the gate, knock, and you will be told what you are to do." Then I saw in my dream that Christian, for that was the man's name, set off running to the gate.